Yeah, well, you touched some really, really important points. Is it like a great idea in terms of everyone tells you it's a great idea? Oh, yeah, it sounds great in the ear,
Mm-hmm.
but does it actually work? That's very important. Big difference. Does it actually make money?
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Amory with us, and Amory, no one knows Amory better than Amory. So give us some backstory, bring us up to speed. We're going to get into a really great high energy conversation, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, guys, keep up on this video. This is going to be an amazing talk. It's going to be an interactive conversation. We're going to share life lessons we're going through, the challenges we want to get, maybe some inspiration for you, maybe some lessons you can get from it. Let's do it. To give a bit of context about myself, I just turned 19 this month, and I want to launch a sustainability initiative that helps e-commerce fashion brands plant one tree for every product sold. Now, why? Is there even any money to do in sustainability? What's the reason? You know, I feel like a lot of brands, they invest into sustainability because they hear that they need to basically invest in it because people trust more sustainable brands. They want to pay more for sustainable brands. But all of these brands invest into CSR. But Richard, you as well, you know that me and you, we don't read all of these long reports. We don't understand them. And a key point in marketing is understanding, creating a relatable story for the client. So my thinking, and this is still at startup level, like I still don't have the product or anything, it's just sharing with you. So planting one tree for every product sold connects, I think, much more with people emotionally on the emotional level, than CSR report or all of that. So that's why I'm trying to put in place. Those are the challenges I'm finding the finances, I have the team, I'm outreaching to the companies. I've been outreaching to the companies without the product. So I had to reprioritize everything, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, it's a noble venture, right? You're still putting the pieces together. And there's a lot of moving parts to this. Right? Like people say, yeah, everyone plant a tree. It sounds good. Okay. But then you start thinking, okay, every product, a tree for every product. Like when you're talking a tree, we're not planting a 20-foot tree, or we're planting what they'd probably call a whippet, right? It's basically got a little root. It started, boom, they put it in the ground, pull some dirt over it, and there it goes, right? So, like, who's doing that? Am I going to have my kids put 3 in the yard and then because we bought 3 pairs of socks? I don't know. Like, how does all that work? So I love the concept from that aspect. There's a lot to dive into. I always think logistics. It's one of the first things I go to. Like, okay, you want to do, well, how do you do that? Like, so I have no idea how or what you're thinking. I'm going to give you, like, off the top of my head what I would first do. Okay. I would go to logging companies. Okay. And I'd say, because they're replanting, because they understand you can't just keep cutting and there's nothing left. Right. So, like, I'd be to them, like, listen, I'm going to have this happen. I'll get the trees to you. You guys throw them in the ground because you're reforesting anyways. Right. You're planting for the future, 15, 20 years from now, the harvest again. Like, so that could be a great connection, because now you're like paying for the trees, and they're already planting them anyways, but you get them the material because you have this sustainability initiative with fashion and everything else, and have them do that. That's where I first go. I'm thinking, who plants the most trees? Yeah, there's landscapers and people like here and there, but they're already buying like mature trees. No one's planting like what we're talking about, right? When people don't get it, like you said, if you ever planted a tree, and I love the great saying, I plant trees that I'll never sit under the shade of, right? So that's what you're doing. Like, you're never, you'll be gone by the time things are creating a shade.
Long-term thinking, man.
Hang a swing from, right? Yeah. So that's what it's about. So that's where I go first, is logistics. Okay. And then next thing I go, okay, we can talk about sustainability in itself. And I think you mentioned it very well, Amory. People like they want to do it. And a lot of them have a, and this is strictly my opinion. Okay. So
Please,
you can beat me
that's
up
fine.
with it or whatever you want. Okay.
We want authenticity, man. So that's good.
Right. So I think a lot of these people do it because they actually want to financially benefit from it.
Absolutely.
They don't really care about it. Okay. They just know, and I'll give you a point. It was 2006 or 7. I went to the AIA, the American International Architects Association. They have a huge trade show, and this was in Boston that year. And I went out to Boston, and I'm walking this whole, it's a massive, right? And everything then, they're calling 2007. So we're 20 years ago, right? Pretty much. Yes, that's right. My math was close. Anyways, close to that, 18. Everything was green this and green that and green this and sustainable and green. And everything was green. Everything had the word green in it. I'm like, so I went to that and I'm like, okay, this is the thing. They're all capitalizing on this. Now, more sustainable products are doing this stuff, but here was the challenge that I saw because I'm seeing this new product and I'm going, but it hasn't been tested. Okay, here's the thing. Like a lot of people come up with new ideas and it looks really good on the front end. And
Correct.
5 years later, it deteriorates, like literally
Absolutely.
falls apart.
Yeah.
The glass, they're doing, plexiglass, this and that phase, and it isn't as good as glass. And so I'm going down this weird road here because what you're doing, I love what it is. I just want people to understand the complexity of what you're trying to achieve. You know what I mean? And pushback you get and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you touched some really, really important points. Is it like a great idea in terms of everyone tells you it's a great idea? Oh, yeah, it sounds great in the ear. But does it actually work? That's very important. Big difference. Does it actually make money? Is it actually sustainable? Or is it just, oh, yeah, wow, you have a great idea. And, you know, people repeat the same cycle. And so you reinforce in your mind. And so you just keep pushing something that may not even work. And so that's something I am balancing. You know, I have to take away all of the the ego boosters, because they are ego boosters a bit everywhere, keeping it reality with being to a certain level completely like crazy, where people call me crazy. How would you attain this, etc. Would you like me to share a bit how I envision like the processes and the yeah okay
that's why I went first, so I could say all the dumb things.
Absolutely.
You can say what you got figured out. It's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you said, we cannot just cut trees, we have to plant them back. And how I see this is that e-commerce brands install a Shopify plugin. Through that Shopify plugin, it is shown on their website, the interface. And each time, let's say there is a parent that buys a garment for their kids, there will be automatically a amount of money deducted and sent to NGOs, non-profits, and to us. Then the client who bought that product also receives a certificate saying, your name, thanks for planting the tree, this is the tree, here is the tree has been planted, a list of benefits. And also the company that would get a dashboard, you know, with different metrics, etc. It's important to measure stuff. And, you know, you said like, you feel that a lot of brands are doing it for the money, for the finances, just to adapt to what clients want. It's true. Yeah. But I think real sustainability should make money.
I agree.
Because if it's not sustainable financially, how will they continue doing it? Plus, the objective of a business is to make money, and they won't invest into something that doesn't make money on the long term. So, you know this better than me. So, if one tree planted for every product sold doesn't bring money in the pocket, they won't continue doing the good deed. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it's and that's right. You have to attach that value to it. You know, people make bad decisions on temporary emotions all the time. Yeah. Okay. So in business, we try to take the emotion part out, right? And like,
don't tell me how you do that. Huh? I would need some advice.
You go, what's the ROI? That's how you take it out. What's my return on investment? You can't, yeah, it can be, it's like eating potato chips. Okay. If you eat a potato chip, it triggers the same dopamine hit
Yeah.
as smoking weed. Like, so you're like getting stoned every potato chip you eat, right? So you like, people will do that. They're not really good for you, but like the feeling you get from it is pretty good temporarily, right? They kind of like it. Soda's the same thing. It stimulates the same part of the brain as heroin. Drinking that is weird. They do these tests, so you get this temporary satisfaction, and that's what I see a lot of the sustainability movement doing. Because I don't think they're doing what you're doing, Amory, and going like, okay, I have to go a lot deeper. I have to do a lot more research. I have to get real data to support the financial sustainability of this, as well as the environmental impact, right? Like what that is. I think that's really important what you're doing, because you're going to invest a ton of time.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just turned 19. I'm a lot older than that. Okay. So we have a different,
That's interesting.
we have a different experience of time, right? To me, time goes very quickly. To you, it seems it
I
takes
just
forever.
started life, man.
Right. Yeah, but and there's literally an equation for that. But like, so literally you got like, well, there's time, but there's, what are we investing in? Okay. So you're trying to get the feasibility of this. You're in that phase, right? Wouldn't you say that you're about?
I'm at the phase to share a bit. I'm with two friends going to Australia to make a lot of money selling solar panels in order to finance this project. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so team playing, we're going to be maybe at the first beginning, because we don't really have the experience living under a bridge, etc.
Right.
But we'll get back up. We're a trio. We're hungry, etc. So
That's good. Yeah. It's really, that's the perseverance aspect of grit, just taking that through. That's what you're going to need. Any business. I don't care if you want to, move trees, or if you want to just move blue jeans. Okay.
I have a question for you about perseverance, if you're down for it. When do you know you should continue persevering, even in the lack of results? Because sometimes that's the case. But when do you know you need to stop persevering because it's just something that doesn't work?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, you have to look at what you're doing. Like, when you say it doesn't work, is that because you've tried 75 different things or three things?
Yeah.
People quit after their first failure. Okay. And that's called quitting. That's not called failing. That's called quitting.
It's called game.
Yeah. And I just tell people, I said, quitting is disgraceful. Okay. Failure's okay. Failure is part of the learning.
You can't say give up without saying gay.
Right.
Gave up.
Right. So you really have to understand, like, the perseverance aspect, that ability to have the grit to work through it's not, I tried 3 times, it didn't work. It's like, you got to get the 4th, the 5th time. You ever heard that story about 3 feet from gold? So a guy had a gold mine. He's digging for years and years and years. Finally, 20 years later, he's never hitting anything. He sells the mine for next to nothing. His wife's telling him to stop and everything he does. Guy goes in, who bought it, digs 3 feet, hits a major vein of gold. The guy was 3 feet away from gold. Okay. So, but he gave up, but should he have 20 years digging, whatever the case, just as an analogy standpoint. So what we have to do to really understand when the time is to pivot out is, have you truly exhausted all the attempts to make this happen? Okay. Because if you start with the hardcore belief, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to fulfill this vision. Okay. And it's be more than a mission, it has to be a vision. Like, you will continue to persevere, but you're going to go way past where anybody else would. That's why they're going to call you crazy. And when they start calling you crazy, that should be motivation. Okay. That's a good thing, because the world only changes because of fanatics. Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
These guys, whether Elon Musk, any of these guys, they thought he was nuts, right? Now he's in space and doing all. Everyone's like that, right? For good and bad. There are a lot of bad fanatics doing bad things. There's amazing good fanatics. Nikolai Tesla, okay, fanatic. was going to give free electricity to the world. You know, Thomas Edison, he's a CEO. He's going to make money off the electricity. So he buried Tesla. You know what I mean? He caused him to just completely go. All Tesla cared about was creating this energy and finding this wireless. He had everything. The man was beyond genius, but he wasn't a salesman. He's an innovator. He's a developer. He built stuff, you know. But so you look at those two things, but it takes someone like him.
Should you be the best at one skill or good at a lot of ones? We were talking about this with friends, and
I'm a one track guy. I'm not a multitasker. I focus. I was building water features. Okay. So rocks, waterfalls, steel sculpture. I did that for 20 years and nothing else. And I was the best at it there was. World-class stuff. I mean, just no one could touch what I do. Right. Because that's all I did. I wasn't trying to do that and plant trees and do landscaping. I did rocks and water and aquatic plants. If it was wet, I dealt with it. Rock, and that was it. Anything past that, wouldn't do it. Okay. People like, you could make more money. I go, no, that I am the special forces of water feature building. We come in with a small crew, automate, we get in, we get done, we build amazing things, we make a ton of money, and we're out. I don't drag stuff on, right? So I learned how to adapt my focused ability and really perfected my craft. So I'm a big fan of do the one thing until either you don't want to do it anymore. It took me 20 years. Then guess what? For 16 years now, I haven't built a water feature or done a sculpture, because when I'm done, I'm done. I moved on to the next thing. So I've got that. So I think does that answer the question?
It does, actually. And that's, a great example of niching down, because we clearly associate Richard to water sculptures. And because you are the best in the market, we're ready to pay more for it. Instead of some guy who knows a little experience in it, also knows other things, will be like, well, yeah, there is you or there's Richard. Well, clearly Richard.
Yeah, it looked like this. I'll give you an example. So I'm rolling up to do an estimate at someone's house, right? So I pull up and I got the wrap vehicle and everything else. And there's a landscaper who also does ponds here and there, right? And they're coming out of the house and I'm walking up and their head just goes down because they know they're done. They're not going to compete with me. Either the only reason the people are going to say no to me is they couldn't afford it. Okay. But they're never going to go with those guys, because I'm going to bring a 3-inch binder of a portfolio that shows everything you could ever imagine. And there's no competing with that. That's right.
How did you come up with this? Was it a passion of yours, or like?
Yeah, it was kind of odd. It was this whole I wasn't an artist, I was told I had no artistic talent actually growing up. So that's always a good motivator. But I was good at landscaping, and then the boulder thing, and then it just evolved into water. Then the sculpture thing, I just taught myself. I said, hey, I'd like to do that. And I taught. Next thing you know, I'm building world-class exhibits, and I'm in all these big places. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool, because I'm creative and I am an artist. And I haven't seen my old art teachers, but I'd like to tell them, I made more on one commission than you made in about 15.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So I'm just saying, the no talent guy over here, but yeah, but it is that, it's that. To me, just like you, I think you're in this position, Amory, is you have to be just laser focused on achieving this, because you're going to hit the bumps. You're going to fall down. You're going to take hits. Okay. Like that's but if you're not that laser focused, you won't withstand those hits. They'll make you run. They'll just turn you into a coward and you'll back out. You know what I mean? I can do something easier. The easy way is never the good way. It just isn't. So tell me more, just tell me a little bit more, because you want to attach this to e-commerce. Okay. So I get it now. And we'll kind of analyze this. It's kind of cool. I'll do a little coaching session with you. Okay. So, this is fun. Who knew?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I'm down.
So when you say e-commerce, like why would everything from a person who makes a coffee mug to someone who does socks or fashion or whatever it is? I mean, you're talking about probably just fashion, but are you looking bigger? Or are you going, okay, the fashion industry is the niche, What made you choose that? That's kind of where I want to start. What made you choose like fashion trees? That sounds good. Tell me why.
Yeah. People ask, yeah, okay. Here it is. It's fashion, but not. It's baby fashion, actually. Baby fashion because parents care a lot for their children. And if they know there is a tree that grows alongside their child while they both grow, I think that's where they'll connect most. Plus, babies grow so fast that there is a lot of clothes they rebuy, buy again and again and again. So I'm niched down into baby fashion.
I like it because that's what I always say, Amory. I'm like, there's two things there's always going to be money's going to be spent on, and that's kids and pets. Okay, kids and pets, man. People spend absurd amount. I have 6 kids. I know. And you talk about fashion. Okay, my wife, I'm just sharing this. I love her. So we had 6 babies, all under 4 years old, right?
Holy shit.
She had so much clothes, and I'm talking whether it's resale or this, but like brand new stuff, everything. They could wear something new every day of it and never repeat it. And we never got through them all. It's like I was like, she just loved it. And then she resell them, and then the next age, and she get rid of the younger clothes, going to the next level. I mean, it just keeps going. You know, it was really cool. But like I said, kids and pets, man.
Kids and pets.
When people are giving like
kids
their
and
cat
and why to buy.
yeah, when people are getting their cat like $8,000 cancer surgery for a cat, okay. I mean, it's just guys like you and I might say, man, I could sell a lot of trees with the $8,000, but you know what I mean. So, but that's where it's at. So understanding your niche, I love that you've done that because that's a whole different thing than saying fashion. Okay, and the kid fashion, and plus again, remember I said planting trees I'm never going to sit under the shade of. Well, their babies just might.
Oh, I like that. Oh,
right?
I like that very much.
That's right. You got to use that. You got to use that, man.
Hell yeah. Wait, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that?
Well, we always say I'm planting trees that I'll never sit under the shade of, but my child will. You got a newborn. Hey, man, the tree doesn't take 50 years. I mean, in 30 years, you got a serious tree. And there's your kid. You know what I mean? If you're doing the certificate and all this stuff, man, like this is your tree. So to give you an example, talk about trees. So I did a exhibit at the Garfield Park Conservatory, big thing on photosynthesis. So it's the most cutting edge exhibit in the world on photosynthesis. Well, I had a 60-foot canopy of steel trees I created that actually could move. They're loaded with epiphyte plants, all that. You walk underneath it. And on each one, so it's all well bead texture, right? All texture, looking just from like any kind of distance. Like people would stand there and argue if it was a real tree or not. I'm like, well, tap on it. And then you hear the metal. I'm like, it's metal. But you can't tell. It's Core-10 steel. But on each one, I put one of my kids. I put one of my kids' names on there in weld bead texture. It'll be there forever. It's a permanent exhibit. Going to last 100 years. I'm like, so I got 5 of my 6. My 6 wasn't born yet when I did it. But so they can go there now today and they go find their name on the tree and go, my old man did that. Right? And they're underneath this thing. It's super cool. So that was little things like that. I mean, I know they're not real trees. They're going to last even longer, maybe. But there's the point, right? People understand that that's ocean of my children. Just to tie this in with what you're doing, I like put their names on that stuff. You know what I mean? But I kind of hit them in the well, but they know where they're at. No one else does. But they can go, it's right there. Look. And they're like, oh, man, it says Xavier. Yeah, that's you. Yep, it says D'Angelo. Oh, look at that. So super cool, right? So the stuff people do for the kids, just to bring this back around, is I think you need to really capitalize on that. Okay, in your language. Okay, the language that connects children, small trees, growing, right, shade, all that kind of stuff. That whole connection is probably a phenomenal marketing avenue. I don't have it perfect. I'm not Mr. Marketer, but like that connection for people, that means something to them. You know how people they buy stars, dude. People register stars in their name. They buy are you kidding me? Only in America can you buy a star. Okay. But they do it. People get so like you're not off base. People, it's and you're not wacky. Yours actually has like there'll be a real tree. I'm never going to the star that's named after me. Okay, it's just not happening.
Yeah, I heard about the buying stars. That's
Yeah,
honestly great. It's cool. It's cool. And but it shows as well that people buy stuff that's not necessarily tangible or stuff that's more emotionally driven. As you
right.
said, we try and
Mhm.
take out the emotions from thing, but sometimes we're humans,
No, 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 no,
we
no.
are
We
emotional.
we take out the emotions for our business decisions.
Ah, okay, okay.
We want to sell with emotion
Mm. Yeah, we
because they
can't sell
will
with logic.
they will be a
Right.
consumer is based on emotion. It's
Yeah.
impulse
Okay.
buying. It moves me. I'm moved. I love the story, all that kind of great stuff, right? So
Mm.
yeah, I'm glad you made that clarification. When you're making business decisions, growing that you got to remove the emotion. When you're
Mm.
selling, you bring the emotion.
Mm.
You want people to well up, man. You want people to go, I
Mm.
got to do that. You know,
Mm.
there's a sock company, I think it's Bomba Socks, and they're not a sponsor. I'm just saying, but like they came out, they're like, for every pair you buy, we're going to give one to the homeless.
I
Right.
heard about that.
So
Yeah.
they're doing like 2 for 1, basically, right?
Yeah.
You're paying $1 gazillion for a pair of socks because you can pay for two, but it's a business thing, right? But
Mm.
people love it.
Yeah.
They love it. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm giving. I feel
Because it's concrete. It's understandable. It's words that it's not fluff. You
right.
Action Y does X. It's concrete. It's close to home. They
Mm-hmm.
feel they did an actual influence. They feel they did a positive change compared to
Exactly.
CSR. Bullshit.
And here's the thing, like, so let's run with that. All right. Most people, when you talk to most people, and I'm speaking for my connections, people I run into, and the average people you hear, they are listless, which means they have no purpose. People are they're functioning without any real purpose, right? Doing something like what you're doing, not to be all foo-foo, but I'm saying there's purpose. You're planting a tree, again, that you're not going to sit underneath the shade of, but someone or my child will, right? That's a purpose. Okay. So people will love to join together for a purpose, right? If that means, and you're going to say, okay, we're going to put in, 673,000 trees a year because we're buying this and we're hoping to scale that to 16 million or whatever it is, right? And you give them purpose and vision, they will follow that because they got nothing going on in their lives. They live in so comfortable. Okay. Everything is so easy. Okay. And comfort just kills,
Yeah.
and
Comfort kills.
so they're like, I want to do something. And again, from the American standpoint, we're incredibly generous. Okay. We get it. But they really don't have purpose. I mean, I do with business all the time. We have to develop the actual vision and purpose for that business so everyone who works there understands that working for a vision, not just
Do you
the
think?
mission.
Do you think? Yeah, I 100% agree with you. A lot of people, they don't have an inner purpose, so they find external
Mm,
things to complete that, and that's how they feel better about themselves. But you said something interesting about it not being hard currently.
mm.
Do you think competition currently in business, in life, in maybe sports and everything, do you feel it's really down? Because I feel there are really two extremes. The ones who are like weakness is fine, or just accept who you are right now, da 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 da, and the ones who are like, fuck that, let's win.
Yeah. Yeah. What you're saying is the scale. Which way is the scale going?
Yeah,
Right.
that
It's
exactly.
like you got a lot
Exactly.
more on the weak side. We'll
Yeah.
call it, well, whatever. There's a lot of things we can call it, but I think a lot of that has been drawn out of us, and obviously you and I can speak from a man's position. I can't really speak for the women, okay? But from a man's position, it's been incredibly watered down, beat down. Okay, you've been kind of sissified. Okay, like
Exactly.
you're not. So the ability to win, to be competitive. Okay, I have a little equation I created years ago. So picture in two parentheses a mathematical equation, kind of, and it's a D plus A minus E, and there's another parenthesis, times C equals results. So the D is desire, okay, plus the A is action, because desire is what's on your pillow when you sleep and you dream.
Wait, let me write this down.
Okay. But you really you kind of understand, Amory, I'll walk you through this too, so it's D.
Yes.
So you got a parenthesis D plus A minus E, parentheses, and then times C equals results. Okay. So the D is for desire. Okay. Desire really is a dream, right? You got a dream. I'm going to, every tree, every piece of clothing, baby clothing gets a tree.
I want to turn harmful fashion into
you got a desire. Okay. Sounds good. You're out talking about, oh, really fun. Now, the A, this is where it takes place, right? Action. What are you actually doing about it? Right? You're taking action, and that's what makes the desire happen. The mine is E. The E stands for excuses. No excuses are permitted. You remove all excuses. None are valid. Okay, none. Zero excuses, no excuses valid. All right. And then times C is competition. Okay. Now, competition is a big umbrella, but listen, we compete against the market as business owners, right? So we have competitors. We compete against people in sport. We compete against ourselves every day, whether we look in the mirror, whether we work out, I do my workouts, whether it's just getting up, getting out, making something happen, trying to get to the next level. Okay. What's that? Competition is a very, very healthy thing. Okay. And if you, and you can't do the desire plus action minus excuses without the competition, because you're there, because there's nothing to fight for, right? You have to have, without obstacles, without some suffering, okay, you're not going to be a better person. You're not going to achieve your goal. If you could just run out and everyone says, oh, trees for everything, a clothes, everyone bought one. Like, what would you be? You'd be like, you'd just be this guy with $1 gazillion and like sitting around drunk and stoned with nothing to do because you didn't have to work for it. Okay. And you like can't fulfill, you got a big old hole you're trying to fulfill and it's nothing. But if you got to bust your hump and you get in the obstacles and you got your partners and they're doing this and this and this, and it takes you 7 years, 8 years, 9, and then all of a sudden this is a thing, like a common boom. I've planted 17 million trees. You know what I mean? Like that. And you get this number and it was a ton of work. That's worthy. That's worthy of achievement. That's the competition. You have to keep fighting. Okay, I'm a boxer. Every day I had to walk 4 steps to get in the ring. Longest 4 steps every day. I did this 6 days a week. I'm like, oh, here we go. Time to take a beating. You know, you get beat up. Some days you get to do the beating, other days you take it, but every day you had to do that, right? But then I became a champion, right? I competed every single day. You know, I did the work, I did all that stuff. So same principle in business. You've got to understand you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get punched in the face. You're going to keep moving. But without that, you'll be nothing. Okay. Without that suffering, without that climbing over those barriers, breaking through that stuff, hustling the deal, making things happen, finding out the way after the 10 failures you just had, and the 11th is the killer, and you get it. That's worth doing. But people can't think that far ahead. They want the instant gratification. They want the comfort, right? They're not prepared to suffer. Suffering is good, man. It builds character. It builds integrity. Dude, it's one of the best things you can do. When you do it with others, it's the greatest bond builder. Okay, what do you think? What do you think guys from combat, been in combat, they're brothers for life. I mean, they literally have protected each other from dying or seeing each other. They suffered together in horrific conditions, came through and got out. You're not breaking that bond. You know, suffering is important. It really is. So you and your partners, these guys, like, you're going to suffer together. But when you achieve this goal, how sweet is that going to be?
I like that. I like that very, very much. All right.
Well,
hey,
it's
I know I'm going to remember this conversation. I know I'm going to remember this conversation. While I'm suffering, I'll be like, good.
Well, you'll have the recording. Just play it. Exactly. You'll just play. just play the podcast recording when you're feeling down. But there's so
Listen,
much more. There's so much more to this, though.
I want
Like,
you to. This is accountability, especially in my head. You don't need to follow up with whatever, but I will do whatever it takes to turn this harmful industry into a regenerative one. And if not, I'm the biggest fucking liar and I deceive myself generations to come. I will not deceive myself or generations to come.
Yeah.
That's
No,
my word.
listen, so let's talk about this real quick. Cause you just said, let's tell us why you think the industry is what it is, whether it's evil, it's bad, it's corrupt, like, and you can get in whatever you want, is where the clothes are made, how they're made, the enslavement they put people in to make this stuff so they can sell for probably whatever that is. What did you see that made you want to, I get the kids part, but now what did you see from an industry standpoint that you want to affect change in?
Well, maybe this may shock you, but I'm skeptical about climate change. Okay.
It doesn't shock me, dude. You're in good company. We'll do a whole other show on that. That'd be fun.
I know. We can't really. There's so much weird stuff about it. I feel it's a lot about just increasing taxes. So
it's control.
It is
one word. It's about control.
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
It is frightening, fear porn.
Yep.
An excuse to control more people so that they enslave more into the rat race. All of it. Yeah. But I still think, looking into nature, often we see this equal exchange. Not to be too much seeing like fairy tale, but a bee pollinates the flower in exchange of honey. There is always this equal exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel humans have stopped giving back to nature. They're only taking. And I don't think we can continue on long term doing that. And seeing how much we consume, how much we buy, how much we overproduce, if that production and those sales could actually benefit by planting one tree for every product sold, I think we could help the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think what people don't understand is, it's stewardship. Okay. Like, and for me, in my beliefs, God put us on the earth and said, you have dominion over everything. But does that mean destroy everything? No, it means take care of it. Be a good steward. He created it. He put us in charge to take care of this. Now, I worship the creator, not the creation. Okay. So, but I want to take care. I don't want to breathe polluted air. I don't want to run out of water. I don't want, all that stuff. But
you don't want estrogen in your tap water, right?
Right. But I also get what's there. I also understand, like, let's take just gas and oil. That is the most inexpensive energy you could possibly create. And what does energy do? It develops civilization. Without energy, you have absolute poverty. Okay. If you can't bring energy inexpensively to a culture, a civilization, they can't thrive. They're still out dragging old tree branches trying to heat the house. You know what I mean? It's like, this is ridiculous. They can't have commerce. They can't have vehicles. Okay. They can't build ships. They can't do any of that kind of stuff, So, and it's abundant, and it's extracted now with so little environmental impact. Let me use a comparison real quick. Okay. Down the road from me, there's a company, they build generators, call them generators, right? Big generators, like hospitals and stuff. So one of these generators is about 30 feet long. It's about 10 foot high and about 10 foot wide. Okay. So what is it? 300 square feet, whatever it is. So they're a 3 megawatt generator, 3 megawatts of power. Okay. It's a big generator, right? And so in a 300 square foot space, they're creating 3 megawatts of power. They can fuel an entire hospital. They have a 4,000 gallon diesel tank underneath it. Okay. They can pump some energy, right, when it's needed. Now let's go solar. let's jump over to solar. Now that's gas run, right? Diesel power. Some can go on natural gas, but primarily it's diesel. Let's go to solar. Okay. To produce 1 megawatt, a third of what those things can do. Do you know how much ground space you need?
Much more.
10 acres. 10 acres of solar panels for 1 megawatt. Okay. With this same, a gas production can do 50 megawatts. Okay. In a 3,000 square foot space. Okay. I'll end here. Okay. From an environmental impact standpoint, what's worse? 3,000 square feet or 10 acres of panels, that destroy everything in its wake, right? You got to clear, got to do all that, got to have the sun, all this stuff. So I'm just saying that when we look at this stuff, we're being a good steward. It's like when you look at the ability to create certain things from other things, right? Just like you're doing the tree for the clothes, you're doing an exchange. Your exchange is money for clothes or a tree. So there's a third party here, right? So, and I guess everything could be a third party from manufacturer to sales to retail to consumer. There's three parties, so maybe we'll call it a fourth party, and that's where this tree goes, right? So we think about this exchange, and then what's this is what I think, but I'm going to say in most people's mind, what's the noblest part of that, of those four? The manufacturer, the retailer, the consumer, or the tree? What do you think people think the most noblest is? Well, a tree, right? The tree,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
it's got some. So like this is just things to think about, even when you market. Like you understand that emotional drive for what this stuff does, And what's really cool is I think what people, and again, we're still in coaching mode here, so throw this out there. Like when you're talking about, like I talked about the logging industry, where they're cutting down trees and doing all that, but then they're planting. Like you actually have to educate people because all they see is clear cut. And granted, they do this in South America and stuff like that. They do a lot of stupid things, right? What I'm saying though is like loggers in this country, because there's more trees now in the U.S. than there were during colonial times. Yeah. Something people don't know. Okay.
And they don't want you to know that.
Exactly. So the point is, these guys are actually planting trees. They cut stuff down, but they also plant trees. Like, and you show that like, oh, they're responsible. They're responsible loggers. Okay. You always see that. Well, I'm a responsible. I care about the plastic and I care about this and that, whatever. Okay. You can't actually recycle that. You're putting it all in recycle bins and you can't actually recycle it. But who am I to say anything? Okay. So, but it's kind of funny when you look at it, but you got to kind of look at it that way, like what's really going on, and show people the truth and tie this into your marketing and this whole mission and vision you have. I think it'd be really cool. You know what I mean? Because here's another thing, and we have to go down the climate map. We got to go down the climate road a little bit. So I'm gonna give you a little pointer. So people talk about carbon, right? So you got the whole carbon thing. They want net zero carbon, right? Carbon emissions, right? So what does that actually mean? I don't know if you've ever asked anyone who's all about eliminating carbon emissions. So I'm going to give you a little thing to do, and you can write this down underneath my equation. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question you ask, and I'm asking everybody who's listening, how many parts per millionth of carbon is in the atmosphere right now? Okay, so math. I'm not good at math, but I'll just jump to the answer. There's 400 parts per millionth in the atmosphere right now. Okay, and then people go, "Oh wow, there's 400 million." Like, okay, so like they think that's bad. So you want to go to zero, right? And they're like, "Yeah, we need to get to zero." Okay, let me ask you this question. Here's my follow-up question: what amount of carbon causes plants to thrive at its ultimate rate? How many parts per millionth in the atmosphere causes the greenest of green, everything warm, massive tomatoes, anything you want to grow? It's amazing. Do you know that number? I'll tell you. It's 1,600 parts per millionth. 4 times, 400 is what's there now. 1,600 parts per millionth is optimal. But you want to go to zero. So if you go to zero, what doesn't live? everything. Everything green will be dead. It
No, it's
has
true.
it has to have that. They pump CO2 into greenhouses to make plants grow super lush and
Mm.
the big fruit and everything else. I mean, that's what they do. And this is
Yeah.
the lie that's out there when we talk about control and everything else. So like you know what you're doing with planting trees? But more carbon, right? You're doing so they can thrive, they can grow, they can
And
absorb
you
the
know,
carbon, right? They
if it
absorb that and grow and give off
continues to
oxygen.
sell more clothes and produce more carbon in exchange,
Right.
maybe it's an even more sustainable cycle.
Well, like you said, the trade-off, right? Like you talked
Yeah.
about the bee and the pollen, clothes
Yeah.
and trees. Like you said, it's perfect. There's a lot of great little things you can tie in with your stuff. I love it. I love it. Let me tell you, I had no idea coming on the podcast here where this was going to go. Because
That's what it
you could have been a tree hugging nut job, right? And we'd still have fun, but it just didn't turn out that way.
Oh,
So I
just
love
be
it.
chill and
I love it.
peace,
Yeah.
man. You
Yeah,
don't
right.
really
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
No,
Put another
you
flower in your hair. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But it's
no,
like
I'm a
the
hungry mother.
reality of it. And when you talk business, because obviously this is a business podcast, but like responsible business, which is what we all should be doing. Many don't.
Sure.
Okay. But that's not, I'm a responsible business guy. Okay. I care about what I produce, how I produce it, you know, who I actually serve. I do say no to people, you know, where I'm not going to serve them, you know, with the things I do because for a lot of reasons, right? But we understand that. So what we have to do is we have to operate in that realm, okay, of responsible business, just like you're doing, right? I can't control what John down the road's going to do with his business, but if I lead by example and I build mine the way I do, that people go, oh, and I'm doing well at it.
Yeah.
Well, how are you doing that? Well, you do it right. You know, you follow
You know,
this path.
I really like what you just said there, leading by example. Even with my two friends, I see that, you know, I have this mentality of sacrificing myself for the team. And because I do that, I work hard. And because I work hard, my perspectives, the words I say, are more taken into consideration.
Right.
So leading by example is the way to go. And most people point the finger. Oh, no, it's their fault. No, it's their fault. It's never your fault, huh, buddy? Yeah,
That's
of
right.
course not.
That's right.
But power only comes when you say it's your fault.
Yeah, listen, no one's going to follow someone they don't respect.
No.
Okay, you can't lead anyone if they don't respect you first. The only way you build respect is to work hard, be a man of integrity and high character, produce a good thing, right? Serve your client, everything else. Then they'll respect you. Then guess what? You're in a position of influence and authority. I tell people about this as being a business owner in any aspect. I don't care if you have 5 people working for you or 500 or 5,000, 50,000. Okay. You're an influence in your community and all those who come in contact with you, man, they're going to listen. You know, if you're that person, okay, who's running a good business, has a true vision, is fulfilling it, people work for you, they're happy, they're going home to their families and everything else. Like you have influence. You'll make more of a difference than just producing whatever you're producing. You know, you're going to change lives outside and around you because of the people that work for you, go home to their families are in the community, and they're able to make that kind of change, right? So and I'm, again, talking from the male perspective, as men, that's one of our callings. We have to operate at that level. Okay, that's leadership. Okay, you know, and the old saying, you know, leaders eat last, right? We build, we do this stuff for others and everything else. Hey, we'll get there. We'll get what's left. It's okay. You know, we'll work, we'll do this stuff, but we have to understand that we have a responsibility. Like I said, even the stewardship of our planet. How do we do this right? Right? How do we still prosper instead of trying to depopulate, you know, 8 billion people?
That's what the fuck they're trying to do.
Right. I know. That's the whole purpose of everything. That's all they want to do. And they
Is
think
it that
that's
why you
the
wanted
cure.
6 kids?
What's that?
Is it that why you have 6 kids? The reason?
Yeah, I'm doing my share. Listen, birth rates, even in America, are at like 1.6. You need 2.1 to replace. China,
like the white people.
Yeah, the China one-child policy for like 30 years, they're done. They can't recover. No workforce. Japan, no workforce. That's why I don't build cars in Japan anymore. There's no workforce. Okay. No one is talking about this. Okay. The whole, no one's having children.
Nope.
Okay. That's no good for anybody.
Fucks it so much up as well.
Right. And depopulation, and all the while we're going down the crazy road here, but it's true. Okay. It's true. They just don't, and I don't know who thinks they deserve to be the last man standing. Okay. Like they're got the God complex, where they're going to decide that, well, we'll be left with 500 million. We'll get rid of 8 billion. That'll be awesome. And then what are they going to do? So I don't even, well, not enough of that, but I'm just saying, like,
if they think we should depopulate, they should start by themselves, I think.
Yeah, I always wish they'd volunteer. They're just not good at the volunteer part.
No, exactly. They're good at blah, 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 but do it
Set the example. That's what, set the example. Show
exactly.
us. Show us. Please show us. But yeah. Oh, amazing.
It is crazy. Honestly, I'm not at that stage yet, but build an empire and then have a lot of kids as well.
Do it. Do it at the same time. Even better. Do it at the same time.
Okay.
I was talking to a young guy yesterday. He's 19. He's 19, maybe he's 20 now. And he was talking, he just got married 6 months ago or whatever. Talking about his wife was going to have kids. They said, well, do it. I said, but yeah, take a year or two, but like, don't waste. It's never a good time to have children. There's never a good time. It's always the wrong time. But if you have them, it'll be the right time, because you'll love it. It'll be amazing. And the thing is, like, I had 6 in less than 4 years. Then lost everything, went to 0. Okay. Went from way up here right down to 0, like overnight, with 6 little kids and a wife. And like, but guess who's still here? That was 09. Who's thriving? Who's doing good? One of my kids in the Marine Corps, they're all working. They're all great kids. We homeschooled them all the way through. They're out doing stuff, right? Yeah. All because I didn't say I need to wait till everything's perfect, because perfect doesn't happen. There's never ideal conditions. It's always going to be something. And like I told him, I said, man, there's no better motivator than a family. You got kids who depend on you literally to put food in their mouth, to put clothes on their back, to put a roof over their head. If that doesn't motivate you, you're unmotivatable. Okay. And as I always tell people, you can't motivate the unmotivated. All right. So it's like, man, kids and a family, man, that will make you just get things done.
But here is what I feel about it. And maybe it's also one of the reasons a lot of people are having less kids. We installed this fear in my head and other young people's heads that the woman, they basically turned woman and man against each other, where we should be a fucking team. And to a certain level, you fear not getting the right woman so that she crashes your dream. So that's what personally I fear. If I find a woman that's not the right fit, then I just forget about, I don't know. Yep. You see what I mean a bit?
I do. I know where you're coming from, because here's the thing about your selection. We'll call it your selection. Who are you going to choose? Who's going to go down this road with you? And there's a lot of different things. We can get in pretty deep on this stuff. Maybe we'll do a second episode, but in the surface level, it's who's going to commit. Okay. When they say for better or worse, who's going to commit to the worst part? Because if you look at it today, it's all good as long as it's for better. Yeah. Oh, it just doesn't make me happy anymore. And we're gonna separate. Like what? Remember I talked about suffering? Remember I talked about hardship, hurdles in business? That's marriage is work. And it's always work. I've been married 26 years. It's always work. You are always working on being married. You're always working on a relationship. You're always courting your spouse. She's just not a convenience, or he's not a convenience. He's just not a breadwinner. Okay. You're not roommates. Okay. You're committed to a lifelong relationship, to build each other up, to having to hold that whole thing, the children, growing them up and then sending them out to do the same thing. Right. So like, you have to have someone who is we call it equally yoked from a biblical perspective. Your beliefs have to be aligned. We'll go back to most people are getting emotional, getting married, and then when the emotion wears off, it's like I was talking about with the other stuff, poof, they're gone. They're gonna go there. Or they never get married in the first place, but they have children and they do this, do that. Okay, I get things happen. right? But then
Mm.
what do you have? You have a broken home, no father there. What does the son raise up to be? Kids, they don't have a father. It's the number one plague of America.
And then he goes to the school system where they
Yep.
educate him to be a
Yep.
fucking helicopter because he feels like it, and
Yep. Exactly.
it's
So
finished. Yeah.
it's really, so don't, you're 19, man. You got a lot ahead of you. Great time to be, you're doing a business at 18, 19 years old, like what you're doing, dude,
I'm
that's some,
hungry, man.
but that's timing. It's great. Like you can drive, you don't have the attachments.
That's the thing.
You can be that fanatic, even if it's for a few years to get this thing launched and get it going. Then, hey, then you're going to meet that girl, be the right one, the right time. You'll find her because you're not looking for her, right? You're not going to be looking. You're just going to show up.
That's interesting.
And she's going to be there because, like, you're not looking, not drooling out of the side of your mouth because she looks good. You know what I mean? Like, none of that. You're just going to be focused, and someone's going to come and see, like, man, this guy's into what he does. But again, they'll discover your character. If you're a man of character, a man of integrity, you know, you've got the honesty, right? You're purpose driven. You understand where you're going. Talked about leadership, right? They respect you. A woman will follow that. She will. I want to be with that guy. Okay. She doesn't want to be the breadwinner where you stay at home daddy. Okay. That's
not sexy.
Right. So not
no,
at all.
I want to be the muscular guy.
Yeah,
that's
you'll be you don't be a kept man. Right. Exactly. So I know we're kind of going long here, but these are things, right? And they tie in the business for a lot of men in business, women in business too. You know, it's complex, Amory, because there's so much to talk about. There's so many intricacies to the whole thing, but in general, it's work hard, push through. You know, you don't quit. You know, have a vision, follow and achieve the vision, and when you achieve the vision, write another one, and get going again. Okay, and go after the next vision. Okay, that's what you got to do. Right. That's what's going to make your dreams come true. And even if it doesn't happen, you spend 3 or 4 years doing this and you've exhausted everything, dude, you're going to be like, dude, if I could do that, the next thing you're going in eyes wide open, super intelligent. I wrote best-selling books on failure, on all my failures, right? Like I take all my failures and now I can help people just shorten those gaps, shave 10 years into one, help them do all this amazing stuff because I've already been there. So reach out, get people to help you who have been where you want to go, attach to them, you know, don't be obnoxious, but like get the information. Successful people will always share. They always share what they know, what they've been through. They'd love to see a young entrepreneur like you rising up. They will do whatever they can to help you. I'm telling you. So look for that because that wisdom you don't get because you're just there. It's because you've been through the fire. And that gives you a lot of wisdom. And that's where you can pull stuff to launch your thing really into the, into the stratosphere.
Do you think, Richard, like after this podcast, if there is, stuff I'm not sure about, and as you said, you have experience, more experience. You're not just experience of living and just flying, but actually doing the stuff for a living.
Yep.
I think there's a big difference there. If I have stuff I'm just unsure or, I'd like your perspective on it. Is it fine with you if I ask it?
You know how to get a hold of me.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. I love it, man. I love it. I love your energy. I love what you're doing. I want to see it work. I want to see it come to fruition. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have the scoffers. You're going to have the people who are going to say you're crazy. Man, that's not worth it. What are you doing? It's noise. It's just noise. Selective hearing. Just get the selective hearing, man. Hear what you need to hear. Now, one grain of salt with that. Hear what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
That's interesting.
Okay, be very careful.
ChatGPT does not exactly that,
Right, it's going to tell you things that you want to hear.
Yeah.
You need to actually ask someone who maybe not, like if you talk to me, I'm not very sweet.
No,
I'm going to give you straight truth. I'm going to do it with a knife hand. Okay, I'm going to say, and that's what you want. That's right. Yeah. That's right. And that's what will shorten your time frame and get you that much further. And you got to be the action taker. You got to be the A in the equation. D plus the A. You got to be the action taker. No excuses. Compete, kill
Zero
it, get them
excuse.
results, baby. Results. I love it.
Fuck
You know what?
You
What,
got me
Amory?
pumped up
This
now.
this
I
this
wanna go
feels
out
like
and work.
this feels like it was your podcast and I was being interviewed. But I like it. I like it. I think it's a good break. It's a good break. But you brought great stuff to the table, man. I love what you're doing. I hope people just enjoyed this crazy conversation. You know what I mean? And we're all hoping the best for you,
Richard,
man. Yeah.
bless you, man.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. So with all that being said, if people want to get in contact with you, if they want to support what you're doing, whatever, where do they go? What do they do?
You guys can find me. I think you can see my name. It's Amory Csiky Alvarez. You can find me on social media. I'm trying to build a personal brand. So I'm going to be journaling the lessons I'm learning, my ambitions, how it's going, etc. So if you want to be part of it, it's going to be a freaking amazing journey. You can go there.
Are you
Thank you
doing
very
video
much.
journaling? Are you doing video journaling? Oh, nice.
Video, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. That is awesome, guys. So now you know how to do it. Let's watch Amory go somewhere. All right. And you can say he was here first on Sharpen the Spear. And we had a crazy conversation about all kinds of goofy stuff.
Very insightful. I learned a lot.
Welcome to the mind of entrepreneurs. Okay, because that's how it operates. This has been just fantastic. All right. So Amory, again, thank you so much. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.